Yo, what is good YouTube? I'm Richie Kim, and today I'm going to be bringing you all the performance review on Aaron Gordon's fifth signature sneaker with 361 Sport, the AG5. Before we get started, if you all enjoy sneaker content just like this, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button down below, and also please hit that bell notification button so you never miss another video just like this one. But anyways, let's get right into it. As always, starting off with the traction, the AG5 features like this triangular slash circular or like maybe like a wavy triangular pattern. At least up in the forefoot and the heel, you do get this like radial pattern. And the traction on here, I would say for the most part is pretty good. If you're playing on your clean courts, you're not gonna have any issues. You're gonna be able to have some really good stops. I wouldn't say maybe like stop on a dime, but it is still very, very nice. If you are playing on your dustier courts, you might have a little bit of problems just depending on like how dusty the court really is. Recently, the courts over here have been extremely dusty. You know, it's getting colder, so it's a little bit more dry. So I think the dust is just a little bit more prevalent. And on dustier courts, or on very dusty courts, I should say, this is definitely not the best. I was definitely sliding around on any sort of linear or lateral movements. However, if you're playing on like slightly dusty courts or like maybe average dusty courts, I think you should be okay. You might have some good stops. You might have some like slide toe stops, but I never like completely slipped out. So if you do experience like some sliding on those like slightly dusty courts, just do a quick wipe and you should be good for a little bit. Just make sure you do keep the wipes up. It does like kind of pick up dust, but it is very, very easy to get off. At least it was for me. So yeah, I mean, for the most part, you know, I would say the traction is pretty good. Just watch out if you are playing on any of like the dustier courts. On slightly dusty courts, just make sure you wipe. On very dusty courts, this is probably just not the best. So moving on to the cushion, the AG5 features a full-length Energy X Plus midsole, and in the heel you have like this little puck of like CQT Extreme, and the cushion in here is so freaking nice. Like, me personally, you know, I do prefer cushion setups that are more catered for responsiveness. You know, you feel very low to the ground, you feel very quick and shifty. This is definitely not that, right? But what I will say is I think the overall comfort and playability of this cushion makes up for that, and I'm perfectly okay with not having as much court feel and responsiveness in this shoe. So yeah, I mean, this cushion setup is very, very comfortable. You do have very nice impact protection in the heel and even in the forefoot. Obviously, it's definitely you know, a little bit nicer in the heel than compared to the forefoot, but you still do get that impact protection. You get a nice little bounce out of it. It is just overall very, very comfortable. And yeah, like I said, you do lack a little bit of the court feel and responsiveness, but I would still say you don't have like any of that. Like, you still have a decent amount. I felt plenty quick in this shoe. Obviously not as much as something like the Big 3 5.0 Quick Pro, or I don't know, something like the Sabrina 2. But yeah, I mean, cushion setup in here is still very, very nice. Just, yeah, you are sacrificing a little bit of that court feel and responsiveness for an overall very, very nice and comfortable cushion setup. So moving on to the materials, the AG5 features a couple of different materials. Up in the toe box, you do have like, I'm pretty sure this is a synthetic leather toe cap. You know, it just gives the shoe a little bit more structure, and obviously this is very, very durable material. The rest of the shoe is basically comprised of this mesh upper, and I want to say there is like some sort of like TPU coating over this. It definitely doesn't feel like just textile. It definitely has like a slightly plasticky texture to it, which is fine. You know, I mean, it definitely doesn't feel as nice to the touch, but in terms of performance, it does get the job done pretty damn well, and I personally had no issues. On top of that, you actually have like these other like TPU layers over it too, to kind of give it a little bit of extra structure and rigidity, and also extra durability. That also continues up onto like where the eyelets are to make sure you aren't ripping through these. So moving to the tongue, you do have like this mesh tongue, and I would say it is adequately padded as well. So if you do like to crank down your laces, you won't feel the laces digging into the top of your foot, which is also very nice. Something that's also nice about the materials on the shoe is this inner liner almost feels like, I guess like cat's tongue, that type of like fabric where, you know, if you rub your finger on it one way, it's nice and smooth, but if you rub it the other way, it actually has like some kind of friction in it. So I do think that is a nice little touch. I think it does maybe add a little bit of extra lockdown and just overall feels better. But yeah, overall the material usage on this shoe, obviously, yeah, it definitely could have been nicer in terms of like the quality, but in terms of the performance, I do really think it does get the job done just fine. So moving on to the fit of the shoe, the AG5, in my opinion, does run true to size. I'm a slightly wide footer. I went true to size and I honestly felt pretty good. Maybe just a little bit of slight pressure up in the forefoot area, but I mean very, very slight. So yeah, I think best bet for everyone, obviously try these on in stores if you can, but over here in the US, you probably can't do that. But yeah, narrow footers, normal footers, I think going true to size is your best bet. Slightly wide footers, and maybe even wide footers, like you could probably go true to size too. I do think that the materials will break in a little bit over time. So overall, I do think true to size is probably just gonna be the way to go for this particular pair of shoes. Overall, I do think the fit is pretty good. I will say that there is a little bit of dead space up in the toe box area, but nothing to where it created like any discomfort or anything like that. This thing does have a half booty upper, so it gives you as close of a one-to-one fit in this portion of the shoe as possible. And like I mentioned before, you do have like this little liner in the back, which also has like that cat's tongue type of material. So yeah, I mean, overall, I do think that the fit is good in the shoe. I didn't really have any issues, and I really don't think that you would have any issues either. So moving on to the support, I had absolutely zero issues with the support in the shoe. Starting off with the heel area, you do have like this giant plastic piece that wraps around the heel. You also have an internal heel counter, and you also have this like little liner right here with that cat's tongue material. So yeah, I mean, I didn't have any heel slippage in the shoe. My heel felt very, very locked in. So no containment issues in the heel at all. When it comes to side-to-side movement on the footbed, I didn't have any issues there as well. I think the materials do a great job of making sure your foot is planted on that footbed. And also you do have like all this TPU and these foam pieces that wrap up onto the uppers of the shoe, which basically acts as like a sidewall for your foot so you're not sliding around. So yeah, I mean, no issues there as well. Hard lateral movements, you're gonna be covered. This thing is a very wide base, and this does actually protrude, like the outsole actually protrudes a little bit to form an outrigger, which is awesome. So yeah, I mean, you're not gonna have any issues on hard lateral movements either. And then when it comes to torsional rigidity and stability, you are covered there. You do have this SOAR system in here, which basically is like the shank that goes from the forefoot to the heel, and that is going to provide you a lot of torsional rigidity and stability in the shoe. And obviously Aaron Gordon kind of needs that. He's a big dude, he's a high flyer. So yeah, I mean, overall the support in the AG5 is very, very good. So the 361 AG5 retails for $129, $130. And for $130, I would say that this shoe is an absolute beast. You know, typically in this price point from big companies like Nike or whatever, we're getting something like the Ja 2, which is fine for the most part, but you know, you're not really getting anything special out of it. It's basically just a regular Nike budget basketball shoe with a signature athlete's name, and they can upcharge for it. Whereas for the same price, you could get this. Obviously 361 is not as big in the States, but the products they are producing are extremely nice. Yeah, I mean, this shoe is an absolute banger. Like, everything is great about this shoe. The only one downside, at least for me, is the traction. Like I said, you know, if you're playing on really dusty courts, this is probably just not going to be the best for those types of court conditions. But I think if you're playing on like mildly dusty to clean courts, you're going to be a-okay. Just make sure you do wipe on your dustier courts. Outside of that, everything else was phenomenal in this shoe. Like, I really enjoyed the cushion setup, even though it doesn't have the best court feel or responsiveness, and everything else just works very well with the shoe. So yeah, $130, the AG5 is an absolute banger. You know, honestly, it's a really, really nice shoe. And I don't think you'd be disappointed if you all pick up a pair of these. Yeah, I really like this shoe, and this is definitely something that would be in my rotation. Obviously, I think I would play in these when I'm feeling a little bit more relaxed, or I feel like I need to recover a little bit more, just because of that lack of court feel and responsiveness. But yeah, the AG5 is a great shoe, and I would highly recommend you all go pick up a pair of these. If you did want to pick up a pair, I'll leave a link for you down in the description box below. But that's pretty much it for this performance review. If you all like this video, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button down below, and please leave a comment, hit that thumbs up button for me. It really does help me out. Check out these videos over here, and that's pretty much it. Till next time, peace.